Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we are currently headed up to the ISS to install our Kerbal pressurized module. Let's warp on forward here. We've got a little ways to go here. We need to do a couple of orbits. And there we are. We're going to have this burn commencing shortly. We did limit the thrust, just double checking that. So we can warp on forward. 30 seconds, 20, 10, and 3, 2, 1, 0 mark. Off we go to the ISS. This is not going to be a perfect interception, but it's close enough. We'll have to do some correction, but that's normal. We would normally have to do that. We're about 7 kilometers off, so this is maybe a little bit more off than normal. We'll see how it goes. It should be reasonably fine, though. So we'll just bring this right on down. 3 seconds left in this burn. Good enough, probably. Yeah, we'll call that good enough. We'll put this on kill rot. We will swap on over to target mode here. And let's warp to about here. Nope, hang on. We're going this way. We need to warp to here. Okay, that makes more sense. I was looking at it backwards. So you can see here, there is actually now 42 kilometers apart. We're going to have to do quite a lot of correction here. I say as I accidentally hit the wrong button and warp us all around. Okay, this is going to be exciting. I guess at this point, we're just going to have to do a few orbits. Would be the best way to handle this. Okay. Well, it's definitely very odd that I did that, but sure. Now around here, we can do a bit of changing of our orbit and just toss this in. Just correct this a bit. I definitely messed that up, but this is better interception now anyway, so that's fine. We can... Oh, we're in time warp right now. Okay, let's physics warp this right on up, and we'll try this again. Now that we've got this lined up a little bit better, I mean, this is going to bring us in closer than the previous one did. I'm surprised that that went to 41 kilometers off, but we could have corrected that. But I hit the wrong button. So that's absolutely fine. We're going to warp forward a little bit further here, and let's try this burn one more time. 3, 2, 1, 0, mark. We've got plenty of fuel for this. I'm deeply unconcerned about having to do this burn here. What is our relative speed going to be? 180, so a little bit higher, but that's fine. It's really, really not a concern. We've got lots of fuel here. And even if we didn't, honestly, I believe we have some fuel on the station, so that would be fine. Let's just bring this right on down. Okay, about half a meter per second to go. There we go. That should do the trick. How are we looking this time? Okay, that's much better. So this is 20 minutes, this is 23. So we're going on this side from this perspective. There we go. We don't have the camera around backwards from where I'm used to looking at it with. That's absolutely okay, and we are cruising on in here. So, this is going to be 0.9 kilometers. That's not bad. And so I want to head over to retrograde here. Let's flip around over this direction, and we'll just push this node from about... this is a little overshooting it. That was quite overshooting it, in fact. But I want to be about here or so. I'll just push that node right on over. There we go. What's that putting us at? 0.0. Okay, we'll go to relative velocity down. And how far out are we right now? I just saw the station. There it is. We're about 6 kilometers. Okay. We're potentially on a collision course here, so we definitely need to be careful about that. I think we'll start our deceleration burn at about 3 kilometers. That might be overkill, but we'll see how that goes. So, right about now. This is probably overkill, but we're loading in the station as we speak. There we go. We're about 2 kilometers out now, and the frame rate is not great. I'm probably going to restart the game once we get to the station, because that does significantly improve the frame rate. So we'll see about how long that takes. I mean, that's definitely going to get cut out of the video if that does happen. So let's bring this on down. We're about 1 kilometer out now, moving at about 70 meters per second. Yeah, this frame rate is just abysmal when we first load it in. It works so much better to restart the game and load both of these simultaneously and just work in this frame, right? So that is indeed exactly what we're going to do here. Let's bring this down to around 10-ish meters per second. Sure, about here. And let's warp this on in. Ooh, that's warping a little faster than expected. Okay, we'll be about here. And let's bring the speed right on down. About 5 meters per second to go. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we went around the other way. Well, we overshot that a bit, but that's due to the frame rate. It's really, really bad. We got to do something about this. And do something we absolutely shall. So let's get into position here. And honestly, I'm going to use RCS for this. It's only 0.2 meters per second, so let's just get RCS turned on. And let's bring this over a little. Things are reversed. Okay. Things are indeed reversed. Noted. Okay. That should do the trick. We'll put this on kill rot. We're at 0.0 meters per second, but the game desperately needs to be restarted here, so I'm going to do exactly that. See you guys in just a moment. Okay, so here we are with the game restarted, and it is running at a more acceptable frame rate. It's not perfect, but it is definitely better. So let's get in a little bit closer to the station here. Heading in at about 2 meters per second or so, somewhere around here. That'll do. And let's just warp right on in. We need to figure out where we're going to place this, of course. So let's just move this guy on in. I believe it gets placed on the far side of here. Yeah, that's indeed exactly where it goes. So let's stop warping here for the moment, and we need to set this docking port as our target. So we'll do that for now, and we're of course going to need to open this cargo bay. We need to just get on the far side here. So that'll be fine. And then we're going to need to unfold all of this, which we'll want to come to a halt before we do that. That's going to take a little bit of time. Cool. So we're passing our target position now. Let's just warp a little bit further around here or so. And let's bring this down to a halt. That is the wrong way. Let's bring this down to a halt. And I want this to be on relative velocity plus here. There we go. So it's going to take us a little bit to bring this down, of course, with this being done via RCS. But that's okay. We are down to 1 meter per second now. Cool. We just want to be on this side. So that'll be absolutely fine. And then this is not all radially symmetrical, so we actually do care about where this gets docked in. Right. So we're going to have to be a bit careful about that. That's okay. So we'll just bring this to a halt. There we go. And Bill, you can EVA. You are going to immediately start grabbing these struts out of here. So 1 strut. Why are we RCSing right now? I guess because this imports some amount of force. And so that's just trying to maintain position with the RCS. Sure. I don't love it, but it's fine. I believe we used 6 total struts to strut this down. So that'll be fine. We'll grab this one, and then I think there should be 1 additional strut. Which I believe is somewhere back here. Yes, this guy. Okay, so we'll just store that inside, and we'll hop back in for the moment. We should now be able to grab this alligator hinge, and we angle this at 90. That is very speedy on the traverse rate. Can we have this be, a bit down? There we go. RCS off, please, and we're going to put this on kill rot. Okay. So we're going to put this up to 90 degrees. And I'm going to freeze the physics here. Just to get that a little bit more under control. Okay. Now I want to extend this guy out. We'll turn this traverse rate down as well. And we'll just get ourselves a little bit of extra space here. Looks good. We're, of course, going to have to stabilize this, but that is not a problem at all. And I kind of want... Do I want to put the arm on the other side here? No, I want to keep the arm on this side. So what we're going to do for now is we're going to have Bill EVA, yet again, and we are going to put a couple of struts on here, specifically 2. I want to put one from somewhere up here, which we can't reach. But for now, let's let this finish extending. It looks like it's done now. So we will grab a strut here. And we're just stabilizing that. Then I want to head up over this direction for the time being. I want to make sure that this arm is currently stable, right? So I want to just position somewhere around here where we can grab this strut. And then I want to place that here and just connect that in here. I just don't want that arm flopping around while we're doing stuff. Okay, as soon as you're done with that animation build, let's head back in. Okay, there we go. And we can start getting this thing into position for docking. We have a grab arm on the robotic arm, right? Yes, we do. Okay, so that'll be fine. And let's board. Okay, so now what we need to do is get rotated into an approximate position here. So that's going to be doing something like this. This is, of course, going to be a very, very approximate position. So something like this, and then we want to bring this guy over. And then we're going to want to yaw a bit. Okay, so the way that we want to yaw is so that this direction is nadir on the station. So we want to do... Why are we going this way? Can you not? Like, bring that to a halt. Thanks. Okay, now I want to yaw this thing in this direction. Okay, so bringing it over like this. Obviously, we're a little too low. But this is approximately the angle that we want it to be at here. So we're going to be facing like up and down. And then we're going to be lining this up with our pitch here. We're going to need to go over to the right. And we're going to need to go a bit up. So it'll end up being, in terms of positioning, something kind of like this or so. We'll need to rotate this a little bit, like this. And this is not perfect. We're just getting it approximate for now. So now I'm going to bring us in from this perspective in the forward vector a little bit. And we're also going to need to go in the right vector a little bit. So off over this direction. Hang on, is this the correct direction? I'm not convinced that it is. This is the direction that we want. Okay. Let's bring this back. Gotcha. Okay, I'm just bringing this down to be in the forward vector here, and let's bring this to a halt. Boy, this really doesn't want to bring to a halt. Okay. Now we're able to bring it to a halt. Okay, awkward directionality on all of this, but it's fine. It's just, for some reason, not exactly what I was expecting. But it's okay. I don't need the map right now, thanks. Okay. So, at this point, we can see we're pretty far off here as far as all of this goes. We're going to need to go over to the right, which is from this angle. Yeah, things are definitely not quite what I'm expecting here. Probably because we're upside down-ish. Hang on, what direction is what? This way is the way that we want to go. Gotcha. Yes, things are a little inverted for being upside down. Okay, that's fine. We're just going to head this direction. For the moment, just to be safe, I don't expect any actual problems, but I'm going to furl these solar panels just to make sure that we don't have any issues. We are actually kind of close here, so we're definitely going to need to change our rotation here. Hang on. This is our yaw that we need to change. So the yaw is going to need to get positioned somewhere around here. We're going to need to go back a little bit so we can toss in a little bit of a backwards vector here. Something kind of like that. Okay. This is maybe a little too much of a backwards vector. Okay, let's bring this back around, killing off that speed. We still need to be going off to the right a little bit here. Okay. That looks relatively fine. So we're still bringing this into position here. Are we going to impact? We actually might. We should move in the up vector a little bit here to pull away from the station. We're very, very close to the station here, and we don't really want that. Okay. That seems like a safer direction to be heading. Emphasis on safer. And pretty soon here, we're going to need to bring this down to a halt. So that means that we should change our vector, because I have no idea what our vector combination here really is. So that means that we're going to need to change our vector to be basically forward, right? So we bring this down like so. Now we're still off a little bit, and that's fine. Looks like that pretty much was our vector. Okay, that's fairly convenient. So we still need to move a little right here, now that we know what our vector is. So we need to move left from our perspective, because we're currently upside down. So that's absolutely fine. We'll just drift this on over, and this is purely left speed at this point. Now, we know that we're not correctly positioned here. We're going to need to go backwards a little bit. I'm just going to do this one vector at a time. So we're going to get into approximately our correct vector here. Just slowly drifting on in. Maybe a little faster. Okay, somewhere around here. So this is an approximate correct vector. It doesn't have to be perfect at this time. So let's just bring that to a halt. There we go. And now we know that we probably need a bit of a down vector, but I'm going to turn RCS off for the moment, and I'm going to control from here. Then we're going to point at the target. And we'll see what that ends up getting us. Okay. That's pretty close to where we want it to be, actually. That's definitely pretty close. I'm changing our rotational vectoring a little bit here. Just trying to line this up. And we do need to go from this perspective, like, backwards, right? So I'm going to put us on kill rot. I'm going to control from here, because that's a lot easier to know where the backwards vector ends up being. And we're just going to bring this backwards a tiny, tiny bit. It does not need to be much. About there. Now we'll control from here. If I can get there from here. Come on. There we go. Control from here. And we'll point at target. Excellent. Checking our rotational. Rotational vector is pretty good. I think that it's not perfect, but that's not surprising. I'm going to bring us in towards the docking port here. In that forward vector. And we're just going to position ourselves about there. This should be pretty close. I think we need to go down a little bit. So what direction is down here? That would be this way. Because we're not at a perfect angle here. That's obvious. So a little bit down. But primarily towards the target. This is in an approximate correct angle. Ooh, this is getting really, really close here. Okay. So we had a small impact there. That's fine. Let's bring this in, and this should, in theory, dock up. There we go. Phenomenal. So that'll be fine. At this point, what we need to do is undock here and get all of this set up, right? So first things first, Bill is going to EVA, and he is going to unleash the robotic arm. Now that this is all part of the same ship, it won't be able to collide, and so that's absolutely fine here. So we're just going to come down over here, and we're going to take this strut connector. As soon as he's done with his animation, there we go. We're going to take this strut connector. I don't care where it goes. It can just go up over here. Boy, that was laggy. Okay. Like I said, I don't care where it goes for now because we can't reach inside of the cockpit. We're just going to store it inside. And up we go. Up. There you go. And you can grab on. Let's head right on in. Actually, no, we shouldn't do that. What am I doing? We need to take these other struts off. So we're going to EVA Bill again, and we need to store the struts. That would help. That would absolutely help. So we're going to take that out of there, and we're going to grab into our mode here. We're going to grab these struts. No, not there. Okay, this is going to be obnoxious. Okay, grab that. It's just very laggy, and that's not shocking considering how complicated this station is at this point. So we're going to grab this strut next, and we're going to place that here. There we go. Now we're going to board, and we're going to undock from here. There we go. Now the shuttle needs to get some space, so we're going to back away a bit. Kill rot, please. And we're going to not go that direction. Hang on. We're going to back away this direction. Perfect. So just getting a little bit of distance here. Did this not undock? Oh, are we having this bug again? I wonder if it has to do with the location of the robot arm. This is bugged here. This is absolutely bugged where this didn't undock. And I think it's because it's clipping through the robot arm. That's my theory. So I'm going to make a separate save here. Just in case I have to redock that off camera, I'm going to make a quick save there. Let's hop over to the station, which is a separate ship at this time. And let's see what happens if we change the angling of this hinge. Would you look at that? That is indeed exactly what happened. Okay, so if we hop back to the shuttle here, we might be able to do something about this. Bill can EVA here. As soon as he's available. There we go. EVA. And we can see about doing something out over here. So let's hop on out, RCS on, get turned around. This is an awkward direction to go here, Bill. Can you go down a bit, please? Thank you. Down. There you go. What we want to do at this point is I want to see if we can grab this. Interesting. Very interesting. These parts are not interactable due to part attachments. But these are. So hypothetically, what would happen if we just deconstructed this arm? This is going to be a little laggy, but if we deconstruct this arm and we reconstruct it after it's unclipped. This is very obnoxious that we have to do this, but if I just keep in mind that we need to unclip these parts before undocking it, that will fix this problem in the future, in theory. So we're just going to get all of this taken apart, and we should be able to put it back together relatively easily. Although we don't have a ladder here, which could be mildly awkward. But for the time being, we're just going to do that. Grab this guy, and we should only need a couple more parts taken off here. Yeah, this is... Oh, where is that going? Is that going here? No, okay, we're good. So then we grab this. And then this should totally free the ship at this point. Okay, now we should be able to replace these parts. But we're going to need to get a little bit of distance here, right? That's going to be by far the most important thing. So now we're going to hop back to the shuttle here, and we're going to get a little bit of distance. We don't need a lot of distance, just a little bit, and I'm also going to retract this arm just to make more space. Okay, now, Bill, we're going to need you to reconstruct this arm. So we're going to put this guy here. Oh, this is going to be so janky. What we're going to need is... Actually, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to... As soon as... Are you quite finished welding, Bill? That was a really long weld. Okay, Bill, let's just hop over here. I'm going to grab this ladder. We no longer need that. And I'm just going to deposit this ladder right here. We shouldn't be affected by that with the return either. Bill, are you going to weld again? Yes, he is. Okay, very lengthy weld animation there. Thanks, Bill. Now we're going to hop back over here, and we're going to actually climb onto the ladder, where hopefully we can get this thing put together back much more easily. But yeah, that's definitely noted that that causes a bug, and we will attempt to avoid that in future. So we can take this out of here and just put it on like that, and now it should be much more centered because we don't have a momentum to impart to it. However, it does have an incorrect angle to it. So if we can grab this with snapping on, please. Okay, this really doesn't want to rotate. There we go. Something about like that. So next, we would put on a rotation servo. There we go. That's obviously at an awkward rotation. Actually, that's a very awkward rotation. That does not need to be on like that. We need it to be rotated like that. No, that's not right either. Hang on. It's very hard to tell with all of those attachment points, but I think this is correct. Now let's get it rotated approximately to where it needs to be, which is about here. Then we need to put on a hinge, which would be placed on here like so. We'll get that guy correctly rotated. Then we put on... Actually, from here we should... That's still not rotated the way I want it to be. One more tick this way. Okay. From here we would put this guy on. Okay. About like that. And then we would just rotate that to be about here. From here, I want to pivot this arm. So I want to hop into the actual station. And I want to make sure that the arm is in a reasonable state, right? So I want to just bend this guy over some 90 degrees here. Negative 90? No, 90. Yeah, just so that we can properly reach it, right? So then Bill is going to, from there, put on a rotation servo, which is going to go right on the end here. Needs to be rotated approximately correctly, which is not that. Not that either. That. Okay, that'll do. And we're going to just rotate this guy on around. Should be about there. Actually, I think one more tick. About there. It's not perfect. It's definitely not perfect. Something like that. It's probably still not perfect, but it's good enough. So that'll do for now, and then we can grab... This hinge is apparently operation in progress. Okay. That could be mildly obnoxious. We'll see if we can do something about that eventually. But for now, we'll need to place this hinge on here. We'll get that rotated, because it is definitely not at the correct rotation. About there, but let's see what happens with snapping. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, back in place mode, we're going to need another rotation servo here. That's the correct rotation there. I like it. And we can grab this guy and just snap that into, hopefully, this rotation. It's definitely not perfect. Maybe... Hang on. Go back in there. Okay. What are we doing for that rotation? It needs to go a little bit further, and I think a snapped rotation will be slightly too far. Is that right? It's probably close enough. Now, I did see that this was flashing as available a couple times there. So, that is the next thing that we need to attach. Let's see if we can trigger that to happen again here. Operation in progress. Oh, there we go. We just reset it to build angle, and it's good. So we can then attach this guy here. Do we need this to be... No, I think this is okay. There we go. So we'll just put that in there. And we're going to then rotate this guy correctly. Operation in progress. There we go. Now we can move it to be about here. How's that looking for angling? I think that's maybe a little too much. It is. And now this thing's wiggling around. But let's see if we just do that. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, so that'll be fine as far as the angling goes. Next, we need to put this guy on. Yep, that should go absolutely fine. I say as we're really starting to wiggle around here. Okay, next up, the octagonal strut. On goes that. And finally, the grab arm. So that'll get this rebuilt. Fantastic. I still want this to be stored pretty out of the way, right? And we're going to need to strut this thing in, but it's well past time to put a cut in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to get this thing stored a little bit out of the way. For now, we can set it to be like -90 here and just store it down this direction. Yeah, it's going to wiggle around a bit there. But we're going to need to put in some struts over here. We're going to need to move this guy from here to be up here. Or no, this is the Columbus lab here. This guy is the one that gets moved to be from here to here. And that'll be absolutely fine. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Andy McGar, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12UK, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.